Chapter 15. In 1992, while Nuestra Familia was dodging the Santa Clara County spotlight, the Mexican Mafia went Hollywood. The movie American Me, starring James Edward Olmos, was released, the first and only movie ever filmed about the Mexican Mafia's history. It produced more than a fair share of publicity for the M.A. American Me was a financial success for Hollywood. However, Mexican Mafia members didn't like the way they were portrayed in the movie. According to court documents, they were so offended by the film that they extorted money and property from Olmos, the star and director of the movie. At least one longtime member turned informant raised the possibility of killing Olmos. The documents identify Olmos as a victim in one extortion count contained in a 33-count federal indictment accusing M.A. members of using murder, intimidation, and extortion to control drug trafficking among Southern California gangs. The M.A. was also charged with killing two M.A. members and for the murder of Ana Lizarraga, an East Los Angeles gang counselor. All three had done work on the movie as technical advisors. Prosecutors claim that Lizarraga was shot a dozen times on May 13, 1992 by two men in ski masks because M.A. leader Joseph Pegleg Morgan objected to certain parts of the movie relating to Cadena. Thereafter, Morgan filed a lawsuit against Olmos, claiming that a character in the film bore too striking of a resemblance to him. Although the suit was dismissed, Olmos reportedly offered the man's wife a $5,000 settlement. With this in mind, American Me rings pretty close to the truth. In order to keep the storyline flowing, however, a lot of license was taken. Names, dates, and some of the most important facts were changed. The following are documented facts pertaining to the Mexican Mafia that every NF member is required to know. Luis Huero Flores was a little-known, yet historically important Mexican-American legend from the Hawaiian Gardens area of East Los Angeles. He is considered the mastermind behind the formation of the Mexican Mafia and is widely acknowledged as the gang's founder. Rodolfo Cheyenne Cadena was a well-known, fearless, and extremely intelligent individual from the Primera Flat street gang who was considered a natural leader. In and out of trouble at an early age, he was 15 years old when he stabbed a man to death and was sentenced to the California Youth Authority, CYA, for murder. Known for his hair-trigger temper and a fetish for violence, he quickly earned a transfer to the Department of Corrections, CDC, where he immediately joined the Mexican Mafia during its early stages. He helped architect the MA's growth and enjoyed studying ancient Aztec and Mexican history. He was also involved with the Brown Berets, an East Los Angeles-based Latino political organization whose members were prime targets for MA recruiters. He eventually became the Mexican Mafia's most respected member. His attempt to mediate peace talks between the Mexican Mafia and the Nuestra Familia cost him his life and sparked an unheard of era of violence in the CDC, which claimed the lives of an additional 31 inmates over the next year. Joseph Pegleg Morgan was a well-known and respected high-ranking Mexican Mafia member of Hungarian descent who grew up in East Los Angeles. I know a lot of you are going to say he wasn't Hungarian. I already know. During his youth, he joined the Maravilla Street Gang and was convicted of second-degree murder before his 17th birthday. Morgan was sent to San Quentin in 1946, and spent the next 9 years establishing a fierce reputation and the respect of fellow inmates and prison staff. After being released from prison in 1956, he was convicted of bank robbery and returned to San Quentin. Morgan eventually met Rodolfo Cheyenne Cadena, and the two eventually became the very best of friends. Together, Morgan and Cadena seized control of the entire prison system. Morgan was again released in the mid-70s and married and fathered two children. He also continued a life of crime and was chosen to succeed Cadena after his death. In 1978, he was returned to prison on gun and narcotics charges, where he was eventually convicted for ordering a number of brutal killings. In mid-1972, Morgan issued the MA edict, Latino street gangs of Southern California were ordered to stop committing drive-by shootings. Publicly, the order was issued to stop street gang warfare. However, the edict was actually a well-organized attempt to control drug sales in Los Angeles and in the surrounding communities. Initially, there was, in fact, a temporary decline in drive-by shootings. However, Morgan would not live long enough to see the fruits of his labor. Approximately 6 months later, he died in prison of liver cancer. Ruben Tupi Hernandez, a high-ranking Mexican mafia member from Ontario, California, is one of the most dangerous inmates in the California Department of Corrections. Oh, come on, man. Dude was a JK. In and out of prison during his teens, Hernandez was eager to please his supporters, and he quickly rose above longtime rank-and-file members. When Tito Marines, his best friend, was killed while he served an 8-year sentence for robbery, Hernandez vowed to avenge his death. His primary target was Mary Lou Davila Salazar, the woman who he blamed for Marine's murder. Upon his release, Hernandez fine-tuned his revenge plot and put together a small arsenal. On the morning of June 22, 1987, Hernandez savagely beat and executed Salazar, her roommate, and her boyfriend. Hernandez was eventually arrested, tried, and convicted of triple homicide. He received 3 life sentences, one for each of his victims. Benjamin Topo Peters is a well-known, respected, and feared high-ranking Mexican mafia member, also from the Maravilla street gang in East Los Angeles, and a close confidant of Joseph Pegleg Morgan. Sentenced to life in prison in 1979, Peters rose rapidly through MA's ranks. Known to enforce his authority through force and intimidation, he was convicted in 1991 for stabbing Salvador Moon Buenrostro a total of 26 times while the 2 men were being held together in a holding cell at the Los Angeles County Jail. It was said that Buenrostro, I know I'm fucking his name up, was stabbed for making derogatory comments about Peters' mentor, Joseph Pegleg Morgan, who had chosen Peters as his successor. After Morgan's death, Peters became engaged in a power struggle with Ruben Tupi Hernandez for control of the organization. During their conflict, both men were accidentally placed in the same holding cell, and Peters reacted by stabbing Hernandez numerous times. Hernandez survived the attack, and Peters was transferred to federal custody. Both men, however, remain in control of their respective factions. Other MA leaders have since chosen one side or the other, and their internal conflict has caused a split down the middle of the MA. Robert Robot Salas from the Boyle Heights Big Hazard Street Gang is another longtime Mexican mafia member who is well known and respected. In the mid-1970s, he served as the leader of the Mexican Mafia for a short time while Joe Pegleg Morgan was on parole. Salas is known for his involvement in the mid-1960s boot incident, which gained media attention when 4 longtime associates of the Mexican Mafia were brutally murdered. Raymond Weddle Shyrock from El Monte, California, is also a well-known, respected, and high-ranking enforcer for the Mexican Mafia. He has spent nearly 25 years in the gang, and his loyalty and enthusiasm made him a favorite of the infamous Joe Pegleg Morgan. He was arrested in connection with 10 slayings in 1978, but ended up serving a short amount of time for being a felon in possession of a firearm. In the mid-1990s, he was charged with ordering the murder of Anthony Moreno, a former MA member. The orders were carried out by a hit squad put together by Louis Big Homie Maricel, who claimed no witnesses be left alive. This heinous crime claimed the lives of Moreno, his sister, her 8-year-old daughter, 5-month-old son, and a friend of Moreno's who was at the wrong place at the wrong time. Both Shyrock and Marcial were arrested, tried, and convicted of the murders. Shyrock was given a life sentence, and Marcial was sentenced to death.